Imagine waking up, like completely aware, but you realize you're just a severed head resting on a sterile laboratory table.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And on top of that, you realize your body is actively forcing your skin to breathe the ambient air just to keep your brain alive.
Just horrifying.
Right. Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking this brutal, completely high-octane collision in the miniseries Ultimate Wolverine versus Hulk.
Yes.
And our mission for this one is to just explore what happens when unbreakable biology gets pushed past, the normal limits of science fiction and straight into psychological horror.
Absolutely.
We're going to break down this entire timeline, strictly scene by scene, focusing on just the pure momentum of these two unstoppable forces colliding.
And that momentum, it starts at absolute terminal velocity. I mean, we don't get a slow buildup. There's no quiet character study here.
No, not at all.
We open immediately, and media res on this desolate, completely freezing mountain peak in the Himalayas. And the sensory details here, they're crucial to setting the tone.
Yeah.
You have this howling sub-zero wind. You have blinding snow, and there's this lone figure, Logan, bleeding out and literally dragging his upper body through the powder.
Wow.
Because he is entirely missing his lower half.
Right. And the sheer visceral horror of that visual is just wild because Logan isn't just lying there in shock, right? His hypersenses are operating in total overdrive.
Yeah, he's tracking.
Exactly. He's actively sniffing the freezing air, trying to track a scent. And the scent he locks onto, it isn't an enemy.
No.
He's tracking the smell of his own severed legs, which his nose is telling him are resting 4 miles up the mountain.
Which is just, it immediately forces the reader to confront this massive physical contradiction.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Because we know Logan's skeleton is laced with adamantium. It's an indestructible metal. So the question isn't just, who did this? It's how is this biologically and structurally even possible?
Right.
And to answer that, the story jumps back exactly 3.5 minutes to show us the raw kinetic power that's required to break the unbreakable.
And that's when we see the Hulk. And this isn't just, a lumbering brute. This is a massive, incredibly dense mountain of green muscle. And he's wearing these giant wooden prayer beads.
Yeah, the beads are a great touch.
They really are. And he has Logan just hoisted up in the air. One massive hand is gripping Logan's torso, and the other is gripping his legs. And with this sickening, deafening sound effect, just this huge KRK, he just pulls.
He just pulls them apart, which, that perfectly illustrates the mechanics of Logan's durability. The adamantium bones themselves, they don't break.
Right, they can't.
Right. The Hulk is applying so much opposing physical torque that he literally rips the connective tissues, the ligaments, the flesh. He just tears it completely apart, physically separating the joints.
It's horrifying. I mean, usually a healing factor means pushing a bullet out of your shoulder, right? Like a starfish growing an arm back.
Right.
But having your entire lower half ripped off and thrown like a javelin, that crosses a massive line. It turns his superpower into a curse.
Yeah.
It's like being caught in a bear trap that specifically keeps your foot alive just so you can feel the pain of it.
Wow. Yeah.
Which brings up the larger point here. How does the ultimate survivor end up in pieces on a snowy peak, just completely outclassed?
Well, to understand the mechanics of that failure, we have to look at how Logan was weaponized and deployed in the first place.
Right.
So the story violently pulls us from this freezing, isolated horror on the mountain right into the claustrophobic, bureaucratic tension of a SHIELD briefing room.
Yeah, total tone shift.
Exactly. We move from physical destruction to the clinical commodification of human life.
And the contrast there is brilliant. You go from literal blood in the snow to this sleek, sterile room with Nick Fury, Betty Ross, and Logan.
Yep.
And looming in the background, which I love, is this massive replica of Hieronymus Bosch's painting The Garden of Earthly Delights.
Which is just the perfect thematic anchor for this scene.
It really is.
Because Bosch's work, it's famous for depicting these chaotic, surreal hellscapes, right? Packed with writhing bodies and bizarre systemic tortures.
Yeah, chaos.
Having it hang silently over Fury as he briefs Logan, it's a deliberate signal to the audience. The subject of this meeting is chaos incarnate.
And the stakes that Fury lays out here, they completely redefine the threat level of Bruce Banner. Because the world thinks Banner is dead, right? But Fury starts listing off these recent totally inexplicable global disasters. You've
Yeah.
got a leveled building in Paris with zero bomb residue, a massive cattle massacre in Ireland that the local cops tried to just write off as a roving pack of wolves.
Which Logan immediately scoffs at, right?
Oh, of
Because
course.
he knows full well what an actual wolf attack looks like.
Exactly. And then there's a localized quote-unquote earthquake in India where there are absolutely no fault lines and no aftershocks.
Yeah.
It changes the entire paradigm. The Hulk isn't just a monster smashing tanks anymore. He's a walking, breathing natural disaster. He operates as an untraceable weapon of mass destruction.
Which completely dictates SHIELD's approach here.
Hmm.
They aren't sending Logan out to apprehend a suspect.
No.
This is a targeted assassination disguised as a tracking job. And you have to notice how they prepare Logan for this. Betty Ross and the scientist, they aren't treating him like a hero or even an agent.
No, not at all.
They treat him like a piece of structural hardware.
Yes. They literally snap open this high-tech containment vial to reveal a severed green finger just suspended in liquid solely to extract a precise scent profile.
Yeah.
And then they run these clinical scans on Logan's adamantium joints. They treat his skeleton like it's a civil engineering problem, analyzing load-bearing limits and all that.
Exactly.
It shows you exactly how the military-industrial complex views these two beings. They're just biological assets.
Just tools.
Right.
And so, armed with that apocalyptic scent profile, Logan begins the hunt. And this tracking job, it traces a direct line through those global disasters, leading him straight into the freezing Himalayas.
Right.
Which brings us to this massive, ancient wooden door set into the stone of a remote Tibetan monastery.
And the atmosphere completely shifts right here. Logan is trudging through this howling blizzard. He reaches the ancient door and he just knocks. And you as the reader, you expect this door to explode outward with green fists, right?
Absolutely.
You expect immediate earth-shattering violence.
But instead, the door just creaks open and it reveals a completely serene, almost tragically calm Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
He's wearing glasses.
Yeah.
He's quietly sipping tea. He's living quietly as an honored guest of the Dalai Lama, surrounded by peaceful monks.
It's totally disorienting. Banner is speaking softly. He's perfectly at peace. But you can't have the Hulk without the underlying trauma.
Yeah.
The story refuses to let us forget what Banner is actually running from.
Right. We get this flashback that lays bare the horrifying psychological weight that Banner is carrying. The casualty report from the Hulk's past rampage in New York City. It isn't just an abstract tragedy anymore.
No.
It's quantified into a hard, cold number. 815 innocent civilians dead.
And the detail that really twists the knife there, 62 of those victims were children. Bruce Banner is sitting in a peaceful monastery, consciously living with the fact that his mere existence killed 62 kids.
And that crushing guilt, it drives the next sequence, which is honestly one of the most extreme visual and psychological moments we see. Banner simply cannot live with his own biology.
Yeah.
So he attempts absolute self-erasure.
And he goes for total overkill. He steals a heavily armored Iron Man suit, jumps out of an aircraft, and drops straight down into the detonation epicenter of a 1-megaton nuclear blast.
Yeah, a nuke.
I mean, I have to pause here, though, because I really struggled with the physics of this scene when reading it. He drops into a 1-megaton detonation. Even inside an armored suit, the sheer thermal radiation, I mean, we're talking millions of degrees. It should atomize his brain cells instantly.
Right.
How does the story justify him walking away from ground zero?
Well, that's a great question, and it actually speaks to the core terror of his mutation. The gamma adaptation doesn't just heal cut tissue. It operates as a subatomic survival mechanism.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the moment the thermal radiation breaches the suit, the Hulk's biology triggers this radical, real-time genetic rewrite. It rapidly adapts his cellular structure to absorb and withstand the kinetic force and the radiation before his brain can be vaporized.
That's insane.
Right. His mutation actively overrides his conscious desire to die.
So the suit is completely obliterated, but the blast just throws the Hulk miles away. And he washes up entirely naked on Omaha Beach in Normandy, confronting these very confused local French kids.
Yeah.
It's this surreal, pathetic image. The ultimate engine of destruction is reduced to a naked, exhausted man on a historic battlefield.
Yeah, it's striking.
And if you're listening to this and you've ever felt trapped by your own resilience, you know, where your ability to just push through a toxic situation actually prolongs your suffering, you can understand the sheer tragedy of this moment. Banner drops into a nuke to find peace, but his own biology forces him to survive.
He is literally a prisoner of his own unkillable flesh. And that brings us violently back to the present moment in the Tibetan monastery. Because that serene, peaceful facade that Banner built in the mountains, it finally cracks. The sheer aggressive presence of Logan in this quiet space forces Banner's tension to snap.
The collision is just instantaneous. The Banner hulks out, and the kinetic force of his first strike is breathtaking. He hits Logan with so much power, it literally launches him backward out of the monastery and violently into the mountainside.
And this is where the environment adds this whole layer of surreal absurdity to the brutality.
Yeah.
They aren't brawling in some sterile city street. They land in a lush green field of giant pandas.
Yes, bamboo and cherry blossoms everywhere, and these massive, peaceful pandas are just caught in the crossfire of these two titans.
Yeah.
It's such a bizarre contrast to the violence. Logan is slashing with his adamantium claws, slicing bamboo in half, and the Hulk is just this avalanche of green mass.
And as the Hulk gains the upper hand, he pins Logan down.
Mm-hmm.
And what he does next really reframes our understanding of the monster. He doesn't just roar. He holds Logan's leg and presents this grotesque, calculated threat. He looks Logan dead in the eye and asks, "Which leg do I eat, Logan? Right or left? Your call."
That moment is so unhinged, and I want to push back on the idea that the Hulk is just a mindless rage monster here.
Right.
That threat requires sadistic intelligence. He knows Logan possesses a healing factor, so he isn't just trying to kill him. He is weaponizing Logan's own biology to inflict psychological torture.
It is a profound psychological flex. But just as the tension reaches an absolute fever pitch, the timeline fractures.
Right into the middle of this pristine panda field, a mysterious naked woman crashes down from the literal sky at terminal velocity, slamming into the snow right between them.
And that sky drop instantly halts the fight. To explain how this woman ended up falling from the clouds into Tibet, the story executes a sharp rewind. We jump back just a couple of hours.
And suddenly we are completely ripped out of the superhero genre and dropped into a high-stakes espionage thriller.
Cool.
The focus shifts entirely away from Logan and Banner. We're following Betty Ross, and she is in the middle of committing high treason.
She is caught red-handed by SHIELD, attempting to sell a highly volatile, weaponized super soldier serum to Chinese operatives.
Yeah.
And the physical prop she uses to transport this serum is fascinating. She doesn't use a high-tech biometric cylinder. She hides the vials inside a vintage, collector's edition Star Trek VHS briefcase.
Okay, I have to stop you there. A vintage VHS case. That feels incredibly campy to me. Like, does that actually work in the context of a grounded espionage thriller, or is it just a ridiculous visual gag?
Well, actually, it perfectly illustrates high-level tradecraft.
Really?
Yeah, you don't transport state secrets in a titanium lockbox that screams, "Hey, inspect me."
Yeah.
You hide it in plain sight.
Oh, I see.
She tells Fury she paid 10 grand for it specifically because it looks so mundane and nerdy that a customs agent would just roll their eyes and wave it through. It's deeply pragmatic.
Okay, I see your point. It's the ultimate misdirection. But Fury corners her anyway. He puts her on a pressurized SHIELD jet bound for a black site. And facing life in a dark hole for treason, Betty realizes she is completely out of options.
So she makes a desperate, irreversible choice. While restrained, she manages to access a hidden syringe of the gamma serum and injects herself right there in the cabin.
And the mechanics of this injection in a pressurized environment are just chaotic. The serum hits her bloodstream, it reacts with her massive spike of adrenaline, and the transformation is violent.
Very.
She hulks out into She-Hulk, literally tears the aluminum side of the jet open mid-flight, and plummets toward the Earth.
Which neatly closes our narrative loop, right? Bringing us back to the mountain. The naked woman crashing into the snow is Betty Ross, fully transformed.
So suddenly, a one-on-one brawl turns into this massive three-way collision. You have the Hulk completely enraged, you have She-Hulk aggressive and disoriented, and Logan is just caught in the middle of this catastrophic domestic dispute.
But SHIELD hasn't been sitting idle this whole time. Nick Fury makes a unilateral, completely devastating tactical decision. If he can't control the biological assets, he will deny them to everyone else.
Right as the three of them clash, the sky goes completely white. SHIELD drops a tactical nuclear weapon right on top of the monastery. The page just gives us this massive, deafening PFW.
It's total whiteout, a hard reset on the whole situation. And when the blast clears, we transition into pure sci-fi horror.
Logan wakes up. But he isn't in the snow anymore. The view pans back, and we realize Logan is just a severed head resting on the sterile laboratory table, hooked up to this web of tubes.
And standing in the shadows is Nick Fury,
Hmm.
who drops this terrifying revelation about how Logan's body actually functions.
Yeah.
Because they didn't just scoop his head up. They placed his severed head into a depressurized vacuum room with zero oxygen.
Okay, explain the biology of this, because it completely reframes his entire power set. Without lungs, without oxygen to fuel his brain, how does he not suffer immediate cellular death from hypoxia?
Because his mutation isn't just about cellular regeneration. It is about sheer, unstoppable survival.
Wow.
Fury explains that in the vacuum, Logan's body adapted in real time to prevent brain death. He was literally breathing through his skin, absorbing trace amounts of ambient gases just to keep the neurological lights on.
It's literally a curse masquerading as a superpower. His body will defy the laws of physics just to keep him conscious.
Exactly.
And understandably, Logan is furious at being treated like a lab rat. He forces them to reattach his head to his body, and the second his spinal column knits back together, he hits the streets of New York on a mission of pure vengeance.
He tracks down an underground contact in Greenwich Village to secure a very specific, custom piece of technology. He's not looking for a weapon to pierce skin. He procures an inhibitor collar.
And then he tracks Betty down to a nondescript hotel room. She is exhausted, vulnerable. Logan kicks the door in and forcefully slaps this heavy metallic collar around her neck. How exactly does this tech neutralize a gamma mutation?
Well, it operates on a specific frequency that disrupts the gamma radiation at a cellular level. It essentially blocks the biological signal that allows the mutated cells to maintain their density and mass.
Oh, I get it.
So it forces the invulnerable She-Hulk form to rapidly, violently regress back into the fragile human body of Betty Ross.
It's a brutal tactical move to strip away her armor, but you can't attack Betty Ross without answering to the one force of nature that loves her. The wall of the hotel room absolutely explodes inward.
The Hulk bursts through the brick and mortar. The fight reignites instantly, but the momentum of the Hulk's charge completely changes the environment. He hits Logan so hard, they are launched out of the high-rise, spiraling into the sky.
And through a series of chaotic, escalating impacts, this brawl spills entirely onto the exterior of a flying commercial airliner, a Boeing 747.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, I have to break down the physics here because it is insane. A 747 cruises at roughly 35,000 feet. The temperature outside is negative 60 degrees. The wind shear is moving at 500 miles an hour. You have two indestructible forces weighing literally thousands of pounds, brawling on an aluminum alloy wing designed for aerodynamic lift, not blunt force trauma.
Exactly. And the structural integrity of the plane, it simply cannot handle the localized stress of their mass combined with the violent impacts. The aerodynamics fail.
They're sent plummeting thousands of feet straight down, and even in free fall, the story doesn't let up. Logan, dropping at terminal velocity, manages to intercept Nick Fury midair.
Logan grabs Fury in the slipstream, pops his adamantium claws, and holds them just inches from Fury's remaining good eye.
Wow.
He demands to know why SHIOB dropped the nuke, why he was used as bait. It's this high-altitude interrogation with the ground just rushing up to meet them.
And then the impact. But we don't hear the crash. The story pulls a brilliant trick here. All the screaming wind, the adrenaline, the violence, it all drains away into complete silence.
We cut to this quiet, sweeping wide shot, the blinding heat of a desert at sunset. The sky is orange. It's incredibly peaceful. The fight is over. We see the Hulk, massive but completely calm, just carrying Logan's broken, exhausted body across the sand dunes.
The dialogue here is so heavy. Hulk looks down at the guy he tore in half a few days ago and just asks if they are cool. And Logan, battered, slowly healing, looks out at the sunset and replies, "I ain't got a soul. Was ripped out of me a long time ago."
And the two of them just walk off together into the blinding sunset, fading into the heat haze.
Such a Western movie ending, you know?
Yeah, totally.
The weary gunslinger is walking into the horizon. But before we wrap up, we've talked a lot today about the tragedy of these two monsters. How they are trapped in bodies that refuse to let them die, surviving nukes and vacuums. But I want to leave you with a different angle to chew on.
Oh, what's that?
Well, think about the inciting incidents of this entire bloodbath. SHIELD engineered this collision. Nick Fury provoked the fight. SHIELD dropped the nuke on the monastery. They chopped Logan's head off and put him in a vacuum just to see what would happen. We spend all our time watching the Hulk and Wolverine tear each other apart. But if human bureaucrats are the ones pulling the strings, treating immortal beings like disposable lab rats and glassing entire mountainsides for tactical advantage, who are the real monsters in this story?
Wow. That is a chilling perspective on the whole event.
It really is. Think about that the next time you see a government agency managing a superhero in a comic. That wraps our breakdown of this incredible collision. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.